Okay, so what I was just telling everybody is today we're going to go over practical solutions of how to build these braces that I've been talking about. Inductors, capacitors, and inductor capacitors. And mixing those three together to build yourself an armor, I guess. We're not shielding, though. We're dissipating. That's the key difference. This right here is wire. It's Romex. So I was just showing everybody right when I remembered to record. This Romex, it's 3 different wires contained within this insulative shell. This is commonly what's used to wire houses. Once you wrap this around you, and I literally mean wrapping it around you like this. If you can't see what I'm doing right now, is I'm wrapping it around my left arm. Even though it's not touching because of the insulative quality of this jacket, this sweater, and the wire, it's still producing the effects of induction, which is to say this is now an inductor once it's wired or wrapped around me. Okay, so when I say inductor, I literally mean just about any wire that you have laying around or can find for as cheap as possible. So I would recommend this Romex because it's as cheap as possible, and wrapping that around you. Okay, that's an inductor. What that does, that inductor, is it breaks apart nanomachinery. Everybody has nanomachinery growing in them. It's not just targeted individuals. It's a longer thing I've covered before. We can get into that more in the Q&A, but I'm just trying to keep this really practical, okay? That was an inductor. This is one I already built, another inductor. You can see it's a completely different type of wire, and it's insulated also, but I believe this is 14 gauge THHN. It's like the second cheapest wire you can get. I made this a long time ago, put it right over my head, like that. Now I've got this inductor on my neck, and there would be a reason for that. We'll go over it at a later date, but I don't need it right now. This inductor and this wire, once it's wrapped, same thing, same exact thing. Even though they're different wire, this one's got more insulation and probably more copper within it, operates the same way. Inductors are just coiled wire. And when you make them like this real nice, then what you can do is you can put other things on top of it and make it into a capacitor inductor. We'll cover that in a second. This is a capacitor mat. All right, this capacitor mat has got 2 things in it, and that's tinfoil and saran wrap. And it's got about 4 layers of tinfoil and saran wrap. This last layer is just duct tape covering. Well, I'm gonna mute everybody, and then when I open it up to Q&A, I'll unmute. All right, so this is a capacitor mat. Okay, again, inductor, capacitor. These 2 things are doing opposite things of each other, electrically speaking. You want to use both of these in different proportions over different parts of your body. And I'll go into a little bit of theory why in a second. So, inductor, capacitor. Okay? The capacitor, just to make this very clear, is made up of layers of tinfoil and saran wrap, or plastic wrap. That's it. That last layer on the capacitor mat that you were seeing is just duct tape to keep it all nice and secure, all right, to make sure it doesn't fall apart. That's all that is. But it's just these layers, about 3-4 layers. The key trick with making the capacitors is keeping the layers separate from each other, all right, meaning that no tinfoil layer should ever touch another tinfoil layer. And if it does, the capacitor will stop working. And again, we can go into theory if people want. When you take these 2 things and you mix them together, which is to say, excuse me, you get yourself your nice inductor ring as your starting point. And then because this is already insulated, the first layer is going to be tinfoil. Okay? The second layer will be saran wrap. You put on 4 more layers alternating, just like you would with a capacitor mat. This thing becomes a capacitor inductor. All right, I don't have one currently ready to share. I did have one in the other room. So if we want to, you can make those any shape. It doesn't have to be just a ring like that. Because if you think about it, you could make the ring, cut the ring, and then put the capacitor around there, and then just have a line that you can, of a capacitor inductor, that you can wrap around anything. You know, so you don't need to get stuck in any one shape. It's just that the inductor part of this works best when it's in a ring because of the theory behind it. And the capacitor, you can potentially, the capacitor mat, I mean, you can make it into a mat and then put it on anything. When you mix those two together, you get something that dissipates frequency the best, okay? And how that works, how it dissipates frequency, as far as just functionally speaking, not theory. I think I've been getting too far off on the theory and just not in the functional, is that whenever your body, this is Mylar, by the way, it's called Reflectex. It's just Mylar, though. It's just the cheapest form of Mylar I can find. And the only reason I use this is because it's conductive. It does shield a little bit, but like I've been saying a lot, we don't want to get caught up in shielding. We want to get caught up in this dissipating frequency. Because shielding will only work some points sometimes, like, for example, these blue light blocking glasses over my eyes. But dissipating frequencies always works. All right, so this, I'll make this as clear as I can. Anywhere, this produces, this produces a magnetic field, okay? Anywhere near you is going to produce this magnetic field. The more ambient electricity, let's say, dielectricity, I'm trying to get caught up in theory here. We can get into theory if people want later. But the more energy available to this is going to make a bigger magnetic field. So when somebody aims a weapon system at you, potentially, or when you put this close to you, because your body produces a field of electricity, it's going to produce a larger magnetic field, okay? The capacitor mat does not work that way. It's counter spatial. It's like a sink, an energy sink, okay? How that works is whatever you're directly near. So basically whatever it's touching or very close to touching is going to take the magnetic energy from whatever it's touching and convert it into an electrical field contained within the capacitor. That's how capacitors work. So this inductor projects a field. Okay, I wish our eyes could see it, but it looks like a donut shape, and the donut hole would be right in the middle of the ring. This one sucks energy in, so it has to be pretty close for it to work. When you mix these two together, it's both of these things happen continuously. All right, it's like they're vibrating in and out. The magnetic field goes out from this inductor and then comes back in through this capacitor. And that's why you want to ultimately build a brace where you mix these two and you put it wherever your parts of your body are being affected, which is usually for most people the left side of their body. So let's get back to practically incorporating all this together. Okay, so first layer, for this to function the best, this is the absolute best practice you can have. You take Mylar or some other conductive material. Say copper clothing is a conductive material. Cloth with foil on it, like that you would buy from, I don't know, Craft Warehouse or something like that, some fabric distributor, excuse me, with a foil, the metallic foil on the outside of it would be conductive too. Not as conductive as the Mylar though. The Mylar you can get anywhere, it's cheap. The only problem with Mylar is you want to get the right stuff for the right application or you'll overheat. So just, incorporate that idea. You do not want to overheat, which is pretty obvious once you put these things together. So anyways, the first layer would be something conductive. Copper clothing, Mylar, whatever it may be. It just has to be conductive, okay? And you don't even need this. This is just best practices. The second layer would be your wire, okay? So let's grab some wire. I'm just going to literally show everybody what I've been saying. I don't think I made it clear. I think it's my fault. I haven't made it clear. Okay. So you see, I got wire wrapped around there. Ideally, you would do this under your clothes, like I have currently. That's why I'm wearing these 2 jackets, even though it's hot, because I don't want the bulges and all the brace showing on camera. But, you know, I can function, I can live, so I do it. But either way, here's the wire wrapped around the conductive material, okay? The last thing that would go in this configurement is the capacitor mat, which is to stay like this. This capacitor mat, I'd put it over, right? And ideally, it'd be a different shape. It would be like this. Here we go. Here's another one I made. This is just a capacitor mat I made with different material. This I made with 10 tape, which is just 10 foil and a tape, or aluminum tape, I should say. And you would wrap it around the wire, right? And it doesn't have to be touching all the wire all the time, but that's going to create your electrical vibrating, dissipating mechanism that I've been talking about, is these 3 layers. Now, the easier thing to do, once you figure out how to do this and where your body needs it, is just to build the capacitor into the inductor. And then just, you still want that conductive layer, because everywhere your body touches this conductive layer, this electrical reaction is going to take place. But the easier thing to do, like I said, would be just incorporating this inductor ring with a capacitor. This is a capacitor mat, like I've been saying. And so like on this section right here, it's going to, even though the capacitor mat is only on this section of the inductor ring, this is now going to operate as that pulsating back and forth electrical vibration, right? And it's that electrical vibration, for lack of a better term, like get into theory if we want, is going to dissipate frequency better than anything. And the dissipating frequency is the better idea than shielding it. All right, so that's about all the practical thing I have to talk about until we get into Q&A. So what I'm going to do right now, so I'm going to open up to Q&A. And I know that's a bit, I haven't said a lot, but I want people to really understand this. So here we go. Opening up. Actually, you know what? Hold on 1 second. I'm going to keep that. I think, Cindy, you had something to say? Okay, excuse me. Whoever wants to speak now, unmute yourself. And you can ask a question or comment about you using it or whatever.
I have a question.
Okay, go ahead, Susan.
Oh, thank you. And my question is, we start with aluminum, do we end with aluminum?
You know, the main thing is that you get 3-4 layers of aluminum separated with plastic. So
Okay.
the aluminum is the conductive layer and the plastic is the insulative layer. So if you had bare wire that you were starting with, for whatever reason, like bare copper wire, you'd start with plastic, right? Because you want to alternate in insulative and conductive. Does that make sense?
So plastic and soil.
Yeah, or you could just always start with plastic.
Okay.
Or you could always start with aluminum. But you want 3 or 4 layers. I would say 4 layers. If you do 4 layers, it won't matter what order you do anything in.
Okay. Got it. Thank you.
You're welcome. And then I think, Rachel, go ahead, Monica.
Okay. Are you going to put that on YouTube?
Yeah, it's already on Rumble, and it's already on YouTube, actually. It's on both of them already.
Okay. And what is the name of it?
It should be live class number 5. I went more into the theory of it. And then this one will also be posted. And then how to build them is on there too. It's like DIY electrical components, wearable electrical components, I think. I can't remember off the top of my head.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. It's all on there. And then email me if you got any questions about if you can't find it.
Okay, thanks.
You're welcome. And Rachel was up?
Hi. One of my many questions is, I'm going to be traveling on an airplane. Do you know any rules about, like, say I made a necklace, I also am wearing a belt. What do you think would happen at the airport, at the Denver airport?
Yeah, I think they're going to call you a terrorist or something like that. So I probably wouldn't wear it. Yeah, I probably wouldn't wear any of that. Just be safe.
A second question is, I was using my stun gun yesterday and it just stopped. There's nothing.
Yeah,
I guess
I wouldn't know. A lot of times the switches burn out, but I wouldn't know particularly what happened there. If you're targeted and you leave your stuff alone, they're going to try to tamper and sabotage and whatnot.
That's most likely what happened.
Can I make a comment?
Another question. Let me ask one more question, and then I'll let someone else talk. Can you still hear me?
Yeah, I got you.
Okay. When I was using my stun gun, when I was using it on the left side of my head and on my left hand, there was like a major fluttering in my right ear. And I also feel attacked on the right side of my body, but I don't understand it. Is it coming from the left and hurting me on the right?
Yeah, that's really hard for me to know off what you said. But usually wherever you feel the pain is where the nanotech exists beneath the skin that's being triggered with the directed energy weapons.
Have you ever heard a flutter in your ear while you're using it?
Yeah, and it's always, or I shouldn't say always, almost always relates to having that nanotech, one way or the other, whether it's the polymers. I covered that in previous classes. So it's a little bit much to go over right now. Go ahead.
I'm gonna make another stun gun, but it feels deep in my ear and somewhere like in my jaw. I don't know how to touch the stun gun to my different shape parts of me, like my ear and stuff.
Well, see, this goes into a longer explanation, but we'll go into it real quick. When this nanotech is being cultured, for lack of a better term, in your body, it's primarily being aimed at, a lot of places, but a lot of times your left eye, your left ear, your throat, your mouth, your genitals, because that's access points to the insides of your body. And this still can all operate without implants. It's just when the implants are there, it operates super effectively. When the implants aren't there, you can use a brace, for example, to keep a lot of this stuff from accruing. That doesn't mean that the nanotech won't still accrue in some places at some times. So long story short, what I think is happening is I think that there's a whole other thing I haven't even talked about at all. And it's got to do with just a form of this nanotech. And I've been saving it because not a lot of people have been ready for it to talk about it. Not a lot of people are at the point you're at, Rachel. So what I would say is specifically those areas where you're having problems treating it. If you increase the amount of components on your body, it will help more than anything. All right. Basically what I mean is that there are chains of nanomachinery that are still being polarized from your midsection to your head. And if you can put these electrical components between those areas, then what will happen is when they become triggered, the nanotech becomes triggered with the directed energy weapons, it will fall apart and only bother you for a short amount of time.
Okay. I'm a little confused still, and I know you're just talking about it, but like I made a bigger brace and was thinking of wearing it like over my clothing, and then I listened to your last call where you were talking about it needs to touch your skin, and it's Colorado, it's getting ready to be cold. I was planning to wear some on the outside of me. Does that make them not effective?
It doesn't make, it's not, I think there was, see, this is where there was confusion. It's not as effective, but if you put, what's more effective than either is to put this conductive layer between you and the electrical component, whether that's copper clothes or mylar, like, you know, or whatever. Just that will increase. Go ahead.
That could be my clothing?
Or it could
like
be.
I could wear my clothes and then wear mylar and then wear my component?
Yes, yes. And everywhere the mylar is near, but it'd be better if the mylar was, or whatever, it doesn't have to be mylar, the copper clothes were touching your skin and then the electrical component was touching that. Because that electrical, that wearable electrical component, once it touches the conductive material, everywhere the conductive material is touching, the electrical effect spreads to. So the dissipating effect. Does that make sense?
I'm learning. So thank you.
You're welcome. But without that conductive layer, then what I said previously is true. That it needs to be near where the directed energy weapons are interacting. But if you have that conductive layer, then it spreads to wherever that conductive layer is. So getting yourself copper clothes, I know that's hard for a lot of people. That's why I said mylar. You can buy mylar, you know, anywhere or a lot of places, like Walmart or Home Depot, you know, in a lot of different forms.
And wear the mylar against my skin.
Yeah, but it's uncomfortable. I'm not saying it's not, but what's more uncomfortable is getting hit with directed energy weapons 24/7.
And you mentioned dance, or what, like leotards and tights, or a different kind of dancing? What do you mean?
Well, the dance wear has got the foil, the metallic foils on it. If you go to like Craft Warehouse or any of those places, you can get, it's called dance wear a lot of times, but it's just cloth with foil, metal foils on the outside of it. Those metallic foils are conductive. That's a thing you can wear that's comfortable. It's not like mylar, and it's not as hard to get as copper clothes.
Okay, thank you so much.
You're welcome. Krista?
Hi, I had a few questions, quick questions, and a comment. First, I happen to have 2 stun guns, but only made one device, and I just want to make a comment to Rachel really quickly that I live in an apartment that has maintenance people that probably have access. Anyway, my device, my EMP got, the charge came down to a very weak zap, almost non-existent, so I knew it seemed like it had been tampered with. I don't know, so I had to trash that. So my questions are really like basic stuff, but mylar blankets, is there any use for them in this world?
Yeah, that could be your conductive layer for sure. You can just cut a hole in the top of it, and wear it like a poncho underneath your brace.
Oh,
that would help.
Yeah.
That would help you tremendously. That's that conductive layer, because it will spread that electrical effect of everywhere it's touching.
I could wear it like a poncho and then put the inductive layer on top of it.
Put the inductors and capacitors on top of that.
Okay.
And that will give you that now when you do that, Krista, that's what we're talking. That's real real change is going to come in your life. I mean, not that it hasn't with the stun gun too, but this is why I'm saying this is the paradigm. This is the next level. You're talking about deactivating implants and then wearing the brace in this way that we just talked about. Then you're going to be flying.
Okay. When you said wear things in the midsection between the head and you said the midsection, what part of the body are you talking about?
The organ sac is the most heavily affected and infected. When you think about like the majority of the nano that you're getting in your body is coming through aerosols that are being released in your near environment. It goes through your lung, from your lung into your bloodstream, from your bloodstream wherever. Usually though, it goes straight into your back, right at that spot of your left lung. And then this is where it starts clumping all the heavy metals in the nano. And it goes down and up at the same time, down to the bottom of your spine where, what's that called? The sacrum? Yeah, the sacrum, I believe that's what it's called, where the bottom of the spine interacts with the pelvis bone. And then it goes up to the brainstem, right at the base of your brain. And from the brain in, the nanotech doesn't exist the same as it does in your body because your brain's under more pressure. That's a longer story we could talk about on one of the nano days. I should get into that, where nano proliferates. But the less pressure, the less compression in your body is where it does the best. So that's, generally speaking, your organ sac. That's from that whole area, basically along your spine.
Belly button?
Yeah, your belly button. Yep.
Like from belly button above or belly button below?
Probably it's a little bit below the belly button up to right about here.
Okay.
That's where you'll get the most effect wearing electrical components, and that's where the most directed energy weapon frequencies and nanotech is at. So that's what they're mostly aiming for on the left side.
Yeah, I feel it. Believe me. Okay. Is there anything I can do about the attacks on my teeth, my gums? Like all my oral health was fine until very recently, and it was fine, and now things are weird right now.
The best thing to do is increase your saliva and decrease your food intake. Your teeth will remineralize if you fast, for example.
Yeah, I know one dentist has a challenge. She says like you've got to have to let the mouth rest. So after a meal, you have to like wait an hour before you eat or drink. Don't put anything in your mouth. You got to do the mouth rest, and then xylitol like takes out all the junk.
And then gum. Sorry for interrupting.
Xylitol gum. Yeah. Okay. I think I have one last question. The materials you showed today are different from the ones, a little bit different from what I saw on Rumble. Are you just sort of honing and refining your stuff and what you use since you made that video, or just experimenting with new things?
Both. And I was doing this before too. So it's all of the above, because building these capacitors, see, this gets into the theory of it, is just inductive or conductive and insulative material. And then, so you can potentially do anything, like any conductive material just needs to be separated from each other with an insulative layer. So you can use like a tin tape, like aluminum tape. You can use pieces of roofing if you got it around. And then as far as like the inductor part of this is that it's whatever wire I've got around. And I have a bunch of wire around from a whole bunch of projects I've had for a long time. So today I just grabbed the most readily available and easy to follow stuff.
I see. Okay, great. Thank you.
You're welcome. And if you got more questions, you jump in again.
Okay.
All right, go ahead, Daniel. Daniel has his hand up. I didn't even know that was a thing. But tell Krista.
Hey, man.
Hey.
So my question is not exactly about the whole capacitor deal, but it's about whether if having inverse polarity magnets up against your skin for prolonged periods of time is a good thing, since the catalyst of a lot of this targeting is a heavy metal. You know, is that maybe not the best thing to go and do?
Well, you're right. You're right when you said it was off topic. But I will quickly talk about it.
Thanks, man.
It's not magnets that will. Magnets can potentially help you by misdirecting the weapon systems, but it's the configurement of magnets to create dielectric sinks that give you benefit. Or that's about it, really. Honestly, there's a lot to be said that could be said about that too. A lot of physics behind it. The magnets by themselves are not. They can be used against you if you don't arrange them correctly. But there's a lot more to be said.
So having them in inverse polarity is a good start to having them placed correctly?
No, inverse polarity is actually making you more magnetic, right? Okay. When you're talking about inverse polarity, you're talking about two magnetic fields jammed up against each other.
Mm-hmm.
That's what repulses. That's why when you one side attracts, the other side repulses. Inverse polarity is when they repulse, correct? Am I wrong on that?
Yeah, no, you're right. You're right.
Okay, yeah, then you're just talking about extra magnetic energy on you and around you. That magnetic energy, when you've got two magnets pressed against each other in that way, forced into that configurement, and if you put your body in between that, what it will do is it will break up nanomachinery. But there's a better way to break up nanomachinery under the skin, and that's making an inductor. Just wrapping wire around you is a much, much better, it's more passive, it's less energy system. So if you wanted the same effect as inverse polarity, I would say just wrap wire around you and you'll get a better go of it. Now, there are some places in your body where you can't wrap wire around you. That might be a time and place to use inverse polarity. But I wouldn't say that's the right theory. That's not the right theory behind magnets. Now, there are people that have used magnets and called it inverse polarity and done something completely different and gotten, like I said, by more or less confusing the weapon systems. There's a lot more to it than that.
Yeah. Well, okay, for instance, I was using them on my head. So to replace those, could using a capacitor or a twisted copper wire in a coil with aluminum foil and saran wrap layered and everything, would that be an okay place to go and use it? My head?
Yes, but you'll see, like me right now, I do not have my head protected.
Uh-huh.
I get hit all the time in my head. I'm getting hit right now as we talk. But because I do not have the longer nanomachinery arrays in my body, which everyone in public has, every single person, not just targeted individuals, because those aren't being accessed by directed energy weapons, the effects are negligible.
Yeah,
so yeah, exactly. So
yeah.
I can feel the pressure of the weapon system hitting me right here. You probably heard me say this before. I feel it 24/7, but it feels like me pressing my finger into my skin. No more, no less, because I've done all these other things. Deactivated the implants, demagnetized my body.
Well, One good piece of advice that I've received from a buddy that is targeted, that has a hobby in neuroscience, is with the head pains and stuff. Not necessarily what you're talking about, because that's more of a tracking type thing, I'm fairly sure. But or you're just feeling the pressure from what's being targeted at you. But the other head pains,
literally a beam weapon.
Yeah, but the other head pains, like the more sharper ones and more pronounced ones, are doing damage. And a way to go and mitigate that damage is to use something called a Q collar. Have you heard about that?
No, and I don't promote other people's stuff like that. A lot of that stuff is just to steal money from targets.
No. This isn't someone else's product. This is like used in the sports industry. Like football players and stuff like that wear this to cut down on how effective impacts can be as far as concussions. And I mean, honestly, like, I didn't have total faith in it either. That's why I brushed it off for so long. But after having it for, I think, like 2 months now, I like it. It seems to have really kept my cognitive ability up there, and my my acuity a little bit more.
All right. Well, hey, Daniel, we're way off now.
Yeah, man. You're good.
And I have no idea what you're talking about. If you're shielding, like, what's going on in your body that would give you any relief. So I can't validate or even conversate really about what you're talking about.
Yeah, man, you're good.
Who's next? Anybody?
Yeah, could you hear me?
Yep, I got you.
Okay. Yeah. So I have a couple questions. So in the past, when I was getting bombarded heavily, I did use a lot of, like you were talking about, like I would buy steel, sheets, and I'd put it all around my room. I did all kinds of things, and no matter what, and I spent so much money, no matter what, I would still get hit really hard. And this was years ago. And but what I did start to get relief when I started to detox. I started to detox and taking herbs, and another thing was zeolite. That was a game changer for me.
Yeah.
But but I do, however, still feel things on occasion, and I feel like the laser kind of pinpointed zaps, and I do feel that on occasion, sometimes at my heart, and on my head, usually on the top of my head, and I'm not sure exactly because in the past it didn't feel that way, but now it does. Before it would be pain that would it would hit me, and then it would kind of spread. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, Jose, you're you're perfect spot to receive this information.
Yeah.
You've already done so much work, Jose. You're gonna, once you understand what I'm about to say, it's just next level for you.
Okay.
What's going on when you're detoxing and it's helping you so much? I spent years of my life, by the way, doing exactly what you're doing.
Yeah.
What's going on is that that the nanomachinery. So it's like imagine a glue that's like self-assembling, that you're breathing in constantly, okay?
Right.
The contractors are releasing this glue, let's say, it's like a synthetic heavy metal that's smart. It can be arranged in your body. They're releasing it in aerosol as much as they can near you. With that aerosol they're releasing, it's like a chemtrail-like weapon. They're doing it from the sides of your house, from the chemtrails above you, and from the sewer system. Most people didn't know about the sewer system, okay? But that's how they're doing it.
Of the sewer system until I saw the last video you had, or before that, where you were talking about that. I'm like, wow. So I did have some open doors as far as that goes, because I didn't have all my bases covered, But it takes a long while to understand this. This is a crazy attack. This is war,
It is definitely 100%, 100%.
Yeah.
So that,
okay, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, I want you to really get this one point, and then because like you already did all the work. The glue is taking the heavy metals that's also in the aerosol, and it's gluing it in place. And from implant to implant is where these chains, these daisy chains of heavy metals are getting glued. When you were detoxing, or anybody detoxes, what happens is the implant to implant breaks down. It no longer connects each other, right? So the idea is that when you're fully,
right?
Go ahead.
So the links are broken.
Yeah, the chains are broken. Literally, the chains are broken.
Yeah.
When you're fully irradiated or toxified, let's say.
Yeah, with the nano or whatever that they're using, right?
Yeah, it is. It's nano and heavy metals. It's all clumped together from implant to implant. What they want really to have the capacity to do is to be able to hit your left foot and the top of your left head at the same time, usually, not always, but usually the case, and send the most amount of electricity through your body. And as that electricity goes through your body, it enters all these different outcomes in all these different places, potentially heart attack, kidney failure, liver failure, name your thing, right? In your head, it will literally heat up the parts of your brain. That heating up process is what we call mind control, all right? So they'll have all these different effects lined up for your brain, or your body, excuse me. That's how this human trafficking really works. That's why it's really easy.
They had me, it was really bad in the beginning. I didn't understand. It was like way beyond me. And I kind of got a grip on it, but still, as far as that goes, and I would have like pain in my chest, because I know they were directing it to my chest, and it felt like I had a 500-pound or 300-pound animal just sitting on my chest. And I would have to work 8 hours straight. Yeah. My goodness, it was difficult. But I got through it, and I'm grateful. I'm grateful for that. But I still feel, however, on my back, I get hit in my back, and it spreads in the middle of my back. And I feel like they're energizing something. They're giving fuel to something that's in there. I'm not sure.
That's literally what I was just talking about a few minutes ago, is that you're breathing it, and it's getting pulled from your left lung blood supply right there straight to your back. And so right at that point, they're hitting it with the magnetizing directed energy weapons and trying to get it to stick so that they can build more and more daisy chains.
So what would you recommend for my back? Because that is the main place that I'm getting hit now.
Well, it goes to the paradigm. The best thing to do moving through this information, especially since you're already detoxing nano, you're already doing the third step, is to go back, or not go back, but do the first step, which is deactivating the implants.
Right.
With the
and I did try this in the past, but I made it years ago by that guy Mike. What's his name? Michael Chapala or Michael. He had videos years ago, and I learned how to do it, but I didn't do it right, and it was actually zapping me. So now I'm going to go back and look at the instructionals that you have, and I'm going to remake that.
And then hold on one second. Then the second thing is to build the braces like we were talking about, like I was just talking about.
Okay. Real quick before you go, we cut. Because I know also fungus has a big deal with this. Mm-hmm. It's all intertwined. Do you know anything about fungus? Because I didn't in the past, but now I'm getting little fungus. It's coming out and it has those fibers in it. And so, do you know anything as far as like to mitigate that, or to anything that besides what I'm already doing? Yeah.
The quickest. You'll hear me say this just so redundantly, but the quickest, easiest thing to do to clear chronic inflammation is to fast. Go 2, 3, 4 days without eating, and you will thank me. You don't have to thank me.
I did fast. I would fast frequently, but I just recently started like working out, and this past few months, and I try to get as much calories as I can in. But then I noticed that that's ramping up because of all the carbs that I'm having. Yeah. So I got to find a balance, I guess.
Yeah.
But okay, I appreciate your time. Thank you so much.
Hey, Jose, that's just the easiest way. Send me emails if you got any more questions as you move
I
through
sent
this.
you a message like a couple nights ago on what is it called, on X, and I was trying to send some, and they were getting blocked for some weird reason. I don't know. But anyways, I'll continue to send it to you. You know, I don't have my name on it. That's why you probably don't recognize the.
Well, there's on X particularly. There's a lot of spooks, so you'll catch me a little bit more guarded there.
That's what it sounded like. Yeah, and So, anyways, okay. I really appreciate your time. Thank you, and I will contact you though through your email. Okay. Thank you so
yeah,
much.
I'll be looking for it. Thanks for your questions, Jose.
Awesome.
Yeah, I wanted.
Oil thing might be useful, Jose. You know, the oil that you were talking about. Sorry, that person. But you know, the whole oil thing, that might be useful because I used that and that was useful.
I do use oil. I use the oil, a lot of oil. Oh, I got everything. I got I use everything. Oil of oregano. I use all kinds of stuff. I've spent so much money on things, and it doesn't. It's internal. You've got to do it. You've got to do from the inside out, and that's just what it is. You know. I've even taken. I even got what is it called? Like fungus pills for fungus. They're strong ones too, really strong. And they did work the first time, but the second time I went and took them again. But I've been eating sugars. You got to cut out the sugars. That's just you know.
See, we all fall back into those habits. The main thing, just because being targeted, the stress and all that. I mean, not all of us, but 99% of us, I'm sure, do. The key part is you recognize the inflammation in the form of the fungus. Now restrict, right? You go take your 2-3 day fast, and your body will just be.
I also went vegan, like vegetarian, and that helped big time.
Speeding up your GI. That's what that does. It keeps your colon from accruing and holding. And when you keep your colon clean, while you're if you want to keep carbo loading at random times because you're working out a lot, just make sure that you're eating lots of soluble and non-soluble fibers, and that will help you tremendously too.
Awesome. Thank you, guys.
Thanks. And then I think it was Unknown, and then whoever else. Genesis, sir. If you want to speak, it's okay if you don't.
Okay, like I was saying, I'm trying to find out how you could I don't know, block out whatever it is sending imagery and videos in your head, and plus the getting hit by directed energy weapons, so you don't feel all shaky and stuff, and also blocking this fake smells that they induce.
Okay, no. You said a lot there. Let me go back from the last thing you said, because that's probably the most important. The fake smells are not fake. Yes, the smell they're putting on top of it is fake, but the thing that you're smelling is the chemtrail-like weapon. That's the heavy metal and synthetic heavy metal and nanoparticulate compounds. All right, they mix that up in a batch, and then they put whatever scent over it, so that people in your environment won't perceive it more so than that than what it really is. But that's the big part of the weapon system people don't get. When that gets into your body, it moves through your body. It goes to implant, whatever implants they're triggering at that period, it starts accruing at the implant. And then eventually what happens is, by sending this directed energy weapon polarization to the implants, and now the heavy metals and the nano and all that's around them, eventually these implants connect. That's the shaky feeling. When enough of these implants connect, there's enough nanotech and heavy metals in your body that they can vibrate at a really low level or a really high level, big sections of your body and your organs and your brain. When it goes to your brain, that's how they're facilitating the images and all that sort of thing. The hard part with the brain stuff is that it accrues, and it can be manipulated so specifically that you could have all this under control when you go to sleep, and then a few hours into sleeping, they could have that capacity back in the images, in the imagery particularly. That's the problem I have with the images. Did that make sense? Please ask questions.
Yeah, it does make sense. Like, there was a video, unfortunately, it got removed from YouTube, but this guy made a video about how it's mainly, well, not mainly, but a part of it is like particles that they said that you could get in your body, and then they end up going to your brain over the months and years or whatever.
Yeah, I know that video you're talking about. That was a fantastic video. That came out sometime after 2001 or 2, but it was a family who was being hurt with these weapons, same weapon systems today that we're dealing with in this call, but it was back in like 2002, and it was right after 9/11. Is that the video?
I don't think it was that video. The video was from another TI guy. And he was explaining it, but I guess because of the information he said, they deleted the video. They didn't like it,
Yeah, this information that we're talking about here today, or the paradigm that I've been presenting, which is EMP, the implants, where the build and where the electrical components, and detox nano, it's that right there. That really is the Achilles heel to all of this. But the trick is that because each one of us that's targeted has a counterintelligence team, or which is to say a bunch of human traffickers, they adapt, right? And they break into your house, they poison your food, they'll spread chemicals on things that you touch. They'll do all sorts of things, going back to the early days of post-World War II intelligentsia. So they've got a bag of tricks that they pull out on people as they start to understand one or two of these things. But either way, through the grace of God, what I've been able to piece together here, what I'm presenting, is the solution, and then figuring out the specifics of how these torturers, human traffickers, what they're doing in your area is like the final piece. And also, like not giving them space not letting them have access to your physical space, whether you're there or not, is so crucial.
I also get the memory loss, and it's like the insomnia got really bad, and they've been able to control my arms and feet sometimes. Took a lot of like vitamins, like in supplements to detox. Like they have like all the fruit powders and the garlic and some of the herbs, to detox, and I didn't really feel that much different. It was like a little bit different, but I still was like getting like the mood changes where they can make you like cry, and then like you could be super happy later.
So you're saying a lot. There's a lot for me to talk about what you just talked about. For example, if you're eating garlic and you're not noticing an immediate effect, it's because of one of two things, which is really the same thing. The garlic's got the shit in it too. And that happens when you go to the grocery stores. Sometimes your food will get sprayed by these people. They can do that from a little bit of a distance, 3, 5, 10 feet, something like that. They'll literally drift this nano crap into your food when you go to the grocery store. That's why they do all the shenanigans they do at the grocery store, is to distract you so you don't figure that out. Or, and this is the case in my area, they do both to me, but more so the case in my area is that the produce itself is being infected in distribution or at the farm. It changes from thing to thing. But for example, the previous person, he was talking about how he was detoxing with those same things and noticing the relief. So that's what I mean, like understanding how the human traffickers operate is what makes this so difficult for so many people. But either way, if you deactivate the implants and you wear the electrical components and braces, then if you eat the toxified food, the effect will be far, far less significant. And not only that, but over time, the heavy metals and the nanotech will have a less conducive atmosphere for its growth and cultivation. And eventually, especially if you fast, right? Because like in your situation, it sounds like you're not able to get clean food. If you fast, it will really break all of it apart and set you free from it. You said so much, the arms twitching, the legs twitching, all that stuff, that's heavy metal and nanotech clumped in you being triggered. That's how they get those muscle spasms. Everyone thinks, oh, it's directed energy weapons. Well, not everyone. Like a lot of people here don't think this, but a lot of people think that directed energy weapons are doing all of that. They're not. Directed energy weapons are interacting with a backstop. That backstop is the nanotech heavy metals clumped around the implants.
Yeah, like, so, like, I've been going through that, but, like, I've been trying to find my way that's gonna, like, stop it, you know? Like, I eat organic or, like, whole foods mainly sometimes. But the only time I really noticed something was when I fasted. I was juice fasting, and they were trying to hit me, and I didn't move that much at all, really, when I was juice fasting that day.
Yeah, so just take the juice out of it, regular fast. And if you need to build up to it, do that by all means. But when you regular fast for 2-3 days, right around there, about the third day, give or take, depending on the person, that's when it really starts taking off. Your body will compress upon all these foreign structures and squeeze them out, more or less. He'll squeeze them to your GI, and then you'll poop or pee them out later on, sweat them out later on. But hey,
I have a question.
Like,
yeah, okay.
that's what I gotta deal with, the nonsense of the talking all this mess, and then making my head say it, or that, like, it's a script of, like, crap I would never even say in my head.
The less nanotech heavy metals you have in you, and the more electrical components you're wearing, like I'm talking about, like we started today talking about, the capacitor mats, the inductors, and the inductor capacitors, the less all of that's going to affect you. It's a runaway effect. All of these weapon systems are a runaway effect, and they work the best when you're in a magnetic state. So when we talk about water, that magnetic state we could call acidity. All right. There's a lot of theory behind that I could go over, but if you haven't already, go to the Rumble channel or the YouTube channel, Onionhead Andrew, and start to review this material and work your way through the paradigm and how you can do this. But this goes true for most people listening right now, unless you're outside of the country, which is a few people's case, I know it is. But you could go get yourself a stun gun by the end of the day, and you could have yourself an EMP device by the end of the day or tomorrow. And then the day after that, you could build these braces. So within a short period of 3 to 5 days, you could be looking at a completely different quality of life that you haven't experienced since who knows when. But I'm not just saying that. I wouldn't just say that. I really, really, really I swear on my life, is true what I just said. Your quality of life can dramatically improve with 3 to 5 days of focused application on this information that I'm talking about.
Hi, Onionhead.
Hello.
Thank you so much for what you just said, the summary of that. My quick question is there a way to stop them, quote, reading your mind? So while you can feel a lot of the other things that were expressed, and I feel a lot of that too, is there a way to stop them getting that information?
Okay, so that's a big psychological operation. They are definitely impacting and interacting with your mind. Okay, I'm not saying that's not the case. The V2K, the AI-driven machine learning V2K and whatnot, definitely is picking up some stuff. But that's all. Most of it's smoke and mirrors. Like the AI is interacting a lot of the times with your subvocal range of motion, right? Like your throat and your tongue primarily. And when you don't have nanotech in those areas and you keep your tongue pressed to the roof of your mouth, that whole feedback system dies down. Not saying that there's not going to be some sort of interaction with V2K at that point, because there probably will be. But like another thing they do, and this is just to show you the smoke and mirrors part of it, is when they break into your house, a lot of the time they install cameras, all right? Real operators really do install cameras in your house. And so a lot of the time, the V2K is watching that, right? It's literally watching you. And it's like, oh, you reach for the orange juice, I can see through your eyes. And it's like, well, no, you're seeing through the camera that was installed in a break-in. All right, that's usually the case. It's like through old surveillance or different surveillance methods, and then interfacing it with this brain mapping and stuff, then it appears as though they're reading your thoughts in real time or seeing what you're seeing, but that's just not the case. All right, if that were the case, I'd be long gone. All right, and anybody that resisted anything they were doing would be long gone. It's smoke and mirrors, counterintelligence 101. Remember what counterintelligence is? To counter your intelligence, to counter the way that you understand reality, to fill you up with false ideas of reality. And it's not, it wouldn't be just the last caller. That's a huge thing that's said throughout the, quote, targeted individual community, is that they can look through your eyes and they can read your brain in real time and all these specific outcomes. Yeah, there is some specific outcomes that can be derived through the layering of these things, but that's exactly what it is. It's the layering of it. It's not like they're just aiming one weapon system at you and getting all the information there is to ever understand about any one person. Because then, well, why would they be trafficking you? We'd be well past that point.
Have you found like a method of reducing, like if you're getting attacked by like a heavy radiation, you would say? Have you found a way to reduce it?
Yeah, it's what we talked about. It's first thing, deactivating implants. That's the whole point of this is overcoming directed energy weapons. When you deactivate implants, you allow an external access of control to diminish significantly. All right, so first thing is deactivating the implants with the EMP, electromagnetic pulse devices, you can make with a stun gun. The second thing is building those wearable electrical components. When you do that, the directed energy weapons that still are attacking you even after the implants are gone become way, way less powerful, all right, to a degree that's hard to quantify. And the third thing, detoxing nano, really what you're doing is you're keeping the heavy metals and the nano machinery from clumping into you, because that can still happen if you're eating poorly, if you don't have good habits like you smoke or drink or whatever. Basically, if the conditions of your body remain acidic, and when you fast or just generally detoxing nano, you resolve that acidity. So it's those three things in conjunction that will de-irradiate you. I don't know the right way to say that. It will lessen all of these effects when you do those three in conjunction. When you do any one of those three, it will help. But when you do all three of them, you're talking about understanding the final solution to escaping this form of slavery.
Andrew?
Yes.
I kind of missed a lot of the presentation today because my computer and phone were being messed up. So I would like to ask you afterwards if you can email me this presentation when you have the recording, maybe tomorrow or whatever. And then I would like to ask you, these wearables that you said can diminish things, where do you get them?
Oh, so that's what you missed. It's the same thing I've been talking about the inductors, capacitors, and inductor capacitor.
Yeah.
And I went over the exact literal application of what I've been saying. So I will, just for the sake of everyone here, Well, I can repeat myself. I'll repeat myself really quick, okay? All right, so
I have followed in your previous shows how to make the inductors and capacitors, but is this something different, the wearables?
No, these are the wearables. But what I went over specifically about it is how to do it in a literal application. And what I mean by that, and this might be a little bit new information for you, because I hadn't been very clear in the past, is you get a conductive material. You get like copper clothes or mylar, or like cloth with a metallic foil on it. You can get that from like Craft Warehouse. You just put in like metallic foil cloth, or like a Joann's or one of those cloth distributors, like a sewing store. So anyways, you get a conductive material, okay? You put that conductive material touching your skin. Then over that conductive material, that next layer you want is the inductor, okay? So it goes conductive, inductor, then capacitor map, and then that's it. That's the ticket. And of course, you can combine the capacitor and inductor into one piece, or you can keep them separate, or you can do both. I do both. But you make sure that you have that conductive layer between you and all the electrical components, and then everywhere that's touching you will have the electrical effect. Okay, does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah, that's the key piece that I've not been very clear on, is that when you have that conductive layer, spreads it all over your body and magnifies the ability of any one electrical component.
Excellent. And my last question, when you talked about natural raw garlic and that it may not be, safe because if it's sprayed or whatever, they sell a product that is called garlic, that are supplements of garlic. Would that be safe or unsafe to take?
Okay, so that's a great question. There's no good answer for it. What I mean by that is that whenever you get into anytime anything is effective at Detox and Nano, the counterintelligence teams are going to adjust. So you might be able to get a shipment of that garlic and it be very, very helpful for you. Eventually what's going to happen is they're going to try to get in between it. They're going to either try to affect it, because we're talking about a global system, right? These people are all globally connected to each other. Whether they're in Russia or United States of America, they all work for the same masters. And that's a longer conversation I've talked about before. Either way. So wherever this stuff is made, they're going to either dispatch people that are in the area already or to that area. And they're going to try to ruin the supply chain of this material that is going into the product, or they'll try to get it at distribution. Or if they can't do those things in the mid or long term, in the short term, what they'll do, regardless usually, is during a break into your house or during when it gets mailed to you, they'll spray it full of stuff. And how they do that is they use this very small particulate that can go through packaging, right? It can go through plastic, it can go through cardboard, the nanoparticulate. It cannot, however, go through metal. So, or 3 millimeter thick, like polyurethane, garbage bags. It can't go through that either. Okay. So if it works for you, great. I'm glad it did. Fantastic. Just like if you find clean garlic in your area, good, great. There will be, really, honestly, that's great. I would love to have clean garlic to work with. They literally were going around to these farms that I was buying from, breaking into their properties at night and spraying their, the plants in the garden as much as they could. Stuff under dirt is obviously protected. Stuff that they had hanged out to dry, so that later on when I would go to buy it, it would be messed up. They would also, see what I mean? Like, that was just for me. That was just me, little old me, right? That's what these people were doing. And I know this area that I'm in is like particularly bad, per capita or whatever, but they'll do this anywhere they can.
Yeah.
The bigger thing about any one item like garlic is making sure you can get it clean and untampered.
Okay. Thank you, Andrew.
You're welcome. Sorry for the long answer.
No, it's great. It's great.
I have a question. With the fasting, is that including not drinking water, or is it just food?
You can do either way. The not drinking water will just make it be faster. It'll speed up your detox times by a lot.
I've been doing like one meal, like we talked about, this is Charlie, last week. Every 24 hours, eat dinner. I don't know if it's working or not. I should go for, like you said, try a day and a half maybe.
Well, so this is back to the counterintelligence stuff. As you start to, it should be helping you. If it's not helping you, it's because you're getting hit harder with the directed energy weapons. Because correct me if I'm wrong, but you've been deactivating implants too, correct?
Yes, with the impulse, the EMP. Yeah, with the EMP laser.
Okay, so
doing it every 2 or 3 hours, 3 or 4 hours then.
Okay, so sorry for interrupting you. I'm sorry. Oh, sorry, Charlie, for interrupting you.
Oh, thanks. That's okay. I appreciate that. We do what we can and still work it. I do drink. I don't drink the tap water. We have a well out here, so I drink the well water. So I'm going to try to miss dinner here and try to make it to tomorrow morning without eating. It's
okay,
tough
and then
to do it.
I did it again. It's the timing of this is hard online. Like we were talking about last time, Charlie, is that your well water is most likely spiked. Just because that's standard operating procedure with someone on well water. They do that to anybody they can. If you can go even longer without drinking water, if you can dry fast, you'll probably get more out of it. But either way, you don't have to do that. That's just a suggestion. The better thing to do is start building these electrical components and keep your fasting habits, right? Keep building that up and up and up. I do all of these things that I'm talking about. I think, was it last week or the week before? I can't remember. I went on a 4-day fast. And for 3.5 days of that, it was dry. So,
but your organs start to kind of shut down. I mean, without water, your organs.
It's a lie. It's not true. It's not true. It's just something they've told us. Because when you dry fast, it works even better. It's crazy how much better it works when you dry fast. But you don't need to. You don't need to. And do what you feel comfortable with. This is not medical advice. It's advice to escape this form of slavery. Once you get the paradigm figured out in your life, and the last piece is the components for you, everything else you're doing. So just start to build these braces. But once you figure it out, you don't ever want to go back. It's like, dude, I would rather not eat for a week than be targeted like I was.
Yeah, I know. I know. I agree. It's tough, to go without. I'm going to try 48 hours. I've been doing 24 hours for the past week. I'm starving now. It's my dinner time.
Well, eat when you do eat, Charlie. If you eat, and this goes for everybody, eat more at once. That's much better for you, and then go longer between eating. And again, this isn't medical advice. This is just advice on targeting.
All right.
If when you eat more and then less often, it helps you heal in between the meals.
I understand. I gotta understand that. I think that I had a couple rings that I made, but they've broken in here a couple times, and they're missing. I think they stole them when they were in here, bastards. So they're very slick. You turn your back, you go outside, you turn your back, they're in and out.
Yeah.
Quick, man. They're
okay. That shows you that what you're doing is working, right? Because that's what they're adapting to. Okay, so now to that particular, if you've got these people breaking in like that, here's what I would do if I was in your situation. Here's what I've done. I'll say that.
Okay.
If you build the copper fans, right, especially in a ceiling fan, because you can spin more copper, then you can get rid of the chemtrail persisting in your environment. When that happens, they'll stop using their invisibility cloaks, especially when you combine that with a very cheap, basic wired security camera system. When you do those two things, when you, like the Cloudbuster stuff I've got on the Rumble channel, and then with the security cam, the very cheap ones, they'll stop trying to run in your house. They will still creep around your property, but they'll stop doing the crazy things like that.
I haven't done the fan with the copper. I haven't seen that video on your Rumble channel yet. But I did buy that thing with the oxygen. What do you call it?
Ozone.
Ozone. Yeah, I did buy the ozone machine, and I tried it the other night. But you are not supposed to be inside the area when the ozone machine is very toxic to your body. They take it out after you use it.
Did it hurt you though?
No, it didn't really hurt me. In fact, they send me these it says no entry. They send me like these little tags to put on the door. It's no entry. They say air out your room for like an hour or so before you go in, because it's so I don't.
So again, this is not medical advice because I can't say it is, for obvious reasons. But when you go into a forest after it rains, you will smell ozone everywhere, or a jungle or wherever. Ozone is not harmful for anyone. All right, what it does though is when you breathe it concentrated, is it can irritate the mucus lining of your throat. All right, it's just an irritation though. It's not toxic. It's the way the ozone is oxygen clumped to oxygen clumped to oxygen. That's all it is. If ozone, it's O3, I think. Something like that.
O3.
Yeah. If it was poisonous to you, right, then they wouldn't be able to sell it to you at all. It's back in the before Rockefeller medicine, and I could really go on this for a long time, so I'm not gonna. But ozone was commonly used in hospitals. So in like the intensive care unit back then, they would have multiple of these ozone machines running 24/7.
Wow. I know it has a smell to it too. When because I set it off, I set it to an hour before I went to bed. And I closed the door, and so I woke. It does have like an acute smell to it.
It's stinky. And it can be uncomfortable. The point of the ozone was to bind with the pollutants that are being, the aerosols that are being released into your environment. So if it's too much for you to sleep in the same room with it, then don't. Do what you feel comfortable with. I won't never say anything, but
No, that's how many times do you do the ozone thing?
Oh, well, so I have spark gap machines that produce ozone, not ozone machines. And I'll run those. I'll sleep right next to them, and I'll breathe lots of ozone. And but it's not an ozone machine, so it's probably not as much as you. But either way, do what you feel is comfortable. And the other thing too is that it could be that if it does irritate you significantly, because the contractors know that you're using it, if they get access to it, they could tamper with it to to make sure that you don't use it. So that goes back to that counterintelligence part of this.
Okay. All right. Thanks. I appreciate it.
Yeah, you're welcome. Charlie, the best thing for you right now, based off what we just talked about, is building more of those rings. But also your security. So, excuse me.
Yeah, I got one on my chest. I got one on top of my head. And I got one on my left arm. I had two other ones. I think they stole them when they broke in. And, yeah, I'm just saying they stole it. And they also stole my wire cutters. Because I'm trying to make a, that sensor when what do you call it? Sensor, an alarm sensor when they break into your apartment or house. Yeah.
Okay. So, hey, this is what I should have said before. I should have made this clear. But put that conductive layer between you and the rings. And if you can get the conductive layer to touch the majority of the rings and then your body, it'll become even more powerful what you're doing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I didn't make it clear.
I was trying to buy a copper, you know, they sell the copper fit shirts, right?
Yeah, exactly.
It's not that expensive either. It's like $10, $12, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I think I'd buy a couple of those.
Yeah, that would be the easiest thing to do. But like I said, you can also get that metallic foil cloth, and you can also get like that Mylar, the emergency blankets. And you can get that stuff just about anywhere. The Mylar emergency blankets.
Oh yeah, the Mylar. When I first started getting hit with the radiation, I thought I did. I bought all this Mylar. I mean, I bought like tons of it, and I put it on my ceiling, and I put it on the side of my bedroom because I thought it would stop the radiation, but it never did. Yeah.
Well, so what it does is it shields against some frequency of laser, but they can tune up or they can tune down around it. So really, we go back to the idea of we're not shielding. We don't want to shield. We want to dissipate.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you very much, Andrew. I appreciate all your help.
You're welcome. And then, I know that it's a little difficult right the second that you're in, like figuring out what's going on, because the counterintelligence, they'll go really hard as you start to break through these things to make sure that you don't. So go ahead and email me if you got any more specific questions, okay?
Okay. What's your email address again? Is it on your website?
It's on the Rumble below every video.
Okay.
Yeah. But it's for everyone. I'm going to write it in the chat right now. It's ACOLE9689@hotmail.com. And it's in the chat as of right now.
Okay. And you can hear the radiation detector going off. I have two of them. So it seems like it's slowed down up until I start eating, and then after I eat, it seems like the radiation detector picks up.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if it's just I don't know if it's helping me or not, but I'll try to go. It's going to be tough. I'll try to go tomorrow night without eating. So that'll be 48 hours. You said it really kicks in after 48 hours?
That's when your body really starts to detox. It's about 48 to 72 hours, somewhere in between there, depending who you are, of not eating and not drinking, that it really takes off. Now, if you can't go that long without drinking, do whatever you feel comfortable with, and just keep working up more and more time.
I'll drink a little bit, here and there. I'll try. But
you'll know you're detoxing a lot when you're peeing a lot and you haven't drinking water. We get so much because of this heavy metal aerosols and whatnot. We get so much wastewater built up into us.
All right.
And it's that wastewater in our body, in between all the cells and whatnot, that all the heavy metals and synthetic heavy metals and the nanotech and all of that, that's where it really proliferates, because that's where our body's under the least amount of compression.
They spent this year alone, they spent $2.5 billion on nanotech, the government.
Yeah, well, it tried $2.5 trillion, but yeah, I know what you're saying. That's the public part of it.
Oh, really? You think?
I mean, the private part of it. Look at the chemtrails. How much is it to chemtrail everything 24/7 like they do? You're talking trillions of dollars.
You would see the aircraft in the air, wouldn't you?
You do. It's just they're far off. They like in the city they use drones, but I know a lot of times in the country what they do is they'll use factories that are far off. This is a longer conversation. I should cover sometime, but let's try. It's got a lot. There's a lot to it.
Okay, I'll get back on subject. All right, thank you very much, Andrew.
You're welcome. Thanks for the questions.
Sure.
Andrew, the mylar has to be touching your skin, or can it be on your clothing?
You want the conductive layer, so if it's copper cloth or mylar or whatever, you want that to be touching your skin.
Wow.
That's what makes it more effective. It doesn't have to be mylar though. It could, like I said, it could be cloth with metallic foil. It could be copper clothing. That's more comfortable.
Okay.
All right, I think Kay was up next.
Yeah, I just wanted to mention something about the ozone. You can actually get ozone colonics as well.
Crazy. And then I think
I wanted to know what would be the cheapest way to make an EMT pulse machine.
It's real quick, go on Rumble. It's the stun gun DIY. You'll see it really quick. It's like on the first page. Or YouTube. It'll both be on there. But I think GJ was next.
Hey, Andrew. Hey, everyone. So just a couple of things. Regarding the ozone, I think it was Kay who said you can get ozone colonics. That's correct. Years ago, I used to get, it's called autohemotherapy. They used to mix the ozone with blood that they took intravenously out of me, mix it with ozone, and I used to sit next to the ozone tank, so smell it all the time, and I was fine. They'd mix it with the blood and then put it back into your body. So it was like I was kind of sick with a bad case of shingles, so I did these treatments. And then I have an ozone ball, an ozonator machine that I don't know if you could get this nowadays. Last time I looked for someone a few months ago, they were sold out and they didn't know when they'd get it back in. And you can drink ozonated water by using this ball, and it will smell like ozone, and you can ventilate if you want. Ozone doesn't bother me, the smell of it. And then you keep it in a glass of water for X amount of minutes, and then you need to drink that glass of water within a certain period of time. Like, you can't leave it lingering for like an hour. You need to pretty much drink it right away. And a lot of people use this ozonated ball to disinfect their vegetables. They'll make a sink full of water or a container full of water, drop the ozonator ball in there, let it ozonate, and then put their vegetables in there and do that for several minutes to kind of get the crap off the vegetables or fruits or whatever. So it's just my opinion and not any advice medically or anything, but I've experimented with it. I've used it before many different ways, and I'm still here today, and I'm just going to start up more frequently now doing that because I find great benefit anytime I use it. Energy-wise, clarity-wise, it's just, I don't know what it is, but it really works.
Well, so I do have an idea of what it is. When we are full of these heavy metals and nanotech, it's basically robbing our body of oxygen. When you put ozone into your body, whether you're breathing it or drinking it or colonic, whatnot, it's going to do two things. It's going to increase that oxygen that you've been missing, so immediately you're going to notice the effect of it. And then two, it's going to help you detox the nanomachinery and heavy metal particulate. You could, if you had a straight oxygen source and you were breathing oxygen 24/7 or a lot of the time, and it was clean oxygen, like a person at an assisted living home would do, your targeting symptoms would be dramatically less. Because it's interacting with the nanotech and the heavy metals and all that.
I'm wondering if you can find one of those O2 concentrators used, like at a medical supply company. That may help. Or you're just talking like straight oxygen out of the tank.
Well, that will help all of them, all of the above. And then we go back to the issue of if you move into any specific solution and you have that one solution, then and don't use the paradigm, then eventually these counterintelligence people are going to wise up to it. So particularly what they would do with an oxygen concentrator is they would dump more particulate into your air. And then so the concentrator will just concentrate particulate, and then you'll be breathing that chemtrail-like particulate in your concentrator. So and it's not to say that it's not a good idea, because it's a good idea. It's not a bad idea at all. It's just to say that the deactivating implants, wearing the demagnetizable the electrical components that you can wear to demagnetize your body, and detoxing nano is the solution. However you apply that information, like for example using the ozone or the concentrator, is great. And as more and more people move through the paradigm of information I've been presenting, more and more solutions will come up, like GJ just suggested. The oxygen concentrator, which is a fantastic idea. If you had one near you or available to you, you get one cheap, by all means.
Yeah, I may look into that. So I have another question. It's regarding the 3 layers, so the Mylar, the Romex, and then the aluminum. Currently, I have a beanie hat that has copper mesh and copper tape in it to help deflect like the EMF waves or whatever. If I put these materials in a beanie hat, would that kind of help along wearing them on the torso?
It would help, but you get much more effect from wearing them on the torso for what I've been talking about. You want to keep the copper just for your head, more or less, because the way copper works is it's actually anti-magnetic. All right, it's copper, silver, and gold are anti-magnetic. That's the best way of thinking about it. When there's a magnetic field near copper, silver, or gold, what happens is the copper, it's through this, you can look this up for yourself, it's Lenz, L-E-N-Z, law. And what that does, basically what it shows us, is that, like, so if you had a copper pipe, a big copper pipe with a nice big diameter, and you dropped a magnet through it, that magnet would fall very, very slowly to the bottom. All right? L-E-N-Z law, Lenz law. And the reason for that magnetic dropping very, very slowly, slower than it should drop, than normal gravity, is because the copper is making an opposite magnetic field to whatever the magnetic, the field that's coming from the magnetic is producing. So let's just say, like, as the first part of the magnet reaches the copper, just drop through the copper pipe, as it touches the copper, that north orientation magnetic field that copper or that magnet is producing will be countered by a south magnetic pole in the copper, and it will oscillate all the way as the magnet, all the way down the copper pipe as the magnet falls down. So, for example, somebody earlier was talking about, I think it was Daniel, was talking about, he's gone now, was talking about particular things to block your head, right? Using that copper mesh and that copper tape is a particular thing that you could use to block your head. That's why I should have remembered to say that. I just didn't think of it. The electric components that you can wear have much more of an effect on your torso. So using all these things in conjunction will give you the most anti-magnetic internal environment, or demagnetized environment, because that's what all this stuff is doing. The heavy metals, the nanotech, the directed energy weapons, they're all keeping you in a magnetic state in which these artificial or external electricity through directed energy weapons can go into your internal organs and body and whatnot. Sorry, I know that's a much.
Do you think by doing that and keeping it on the head, it can scramble them from or keep them away from locking into your EEGs in your brain?
I wouldn't think so. I don't know. But I just don't know about that. But what I will say is this, is that when you reach a certain threshold of magneticism, then the majority of their weapon systems lock on. So if you can keep that from happening, you'll notice a quality of life improvement that, again, I've been talking about a bunch. You know, this is really what I'm talking about, is keeping the greater voltages out of your body, external voltages out of your body. So keeping yourself in this demagnetized state.
Okay, and then one more other question I have. I just want to know if you've heard of this before. So I was using the EMP device on my left arm, because I'll get more so on the left side, okay, which you said, but then my right eye. But so I did the EMP device on the left arm near the elbow. So I did that for a while, for a few minutes. Now, what I did experience when I pulled it off was some tingling and vibrations near the wrist. Could that be some movement? I mean, it only lasted for like 30 seconds.
So you ran the EMP device over your wrist area, and you didn't shock yourself by accident, but when you were done using the EMP device, you noticed tingling.
No, I ran it on the top part of my arm near the elbow, so for about 4 inches. So nowhere near the wrist yet, just where I experienced like some electrical shocks. So not on the wrist. But then when I was done, I did that for about a minute or two, because I was just starting. Then when I was done and it was off the arm, then that's when I felt like the tingling or the vibrations near the wrist. But that only lasted like, say, 10 to 15 seconds.
I'm so glad that you noticed that, because this is a great moment for everybody to understand this. The nanotech, it clumps around the implants like we talked about, but when it's going from implant to implant, it's trying to utilize as much of the electricity in your nervous system as possible. So what I think happened, and I've experienced this too before, is that you had a bunch of nanotech heavy metals clumped in that area. And when you hit one side of it, you hit an implant. And the second you hit the implant, all of that magnetic energy, electric energy stored up in that chain, that daisy chain that I've been talking about, it just fizzled away. All right, and it took like 20, 30 seconds for it to bleed out. And that's what you were feeling, that tingling, was all that stored energy bleeding out through that daisy chain. And the reason you felt it at the other end and not where you had EMP'd is because that's where it was going to. That's where the next implant was. That's where the daisy chain was, and that implant was still running. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, but then I did do it when I no longer felt that tingling and vibration anymore. Then I hit that area also with the device. So just to hit that area, cover that area. And then here's another thing I just want to mention. I don't know if this is just a placebo effect or whatnot, and I'm not sure if I emailed you or chatted with you saying that I had to have a tooth removed, and there was some pain where the injection site was. Well, this pain never went away. So the dentist said, when I went to the dentist, because an oral surgeon took it out, but when I went to the dentist, he said, well, there's just like a bone fragment that's there, and it'll eventually come out. And I said, no, something was in that needle. I think something was in that needle. Well, when I used that device, because the pain was still there, and I used to gargle with iodine and whatnot, when I used that device, it hurt when I put it in that area. I'm not going to lie. It hurt. I felt a zing. I mean, I thought, oh, my God. Well, I did it a few times, and what happened was about a week later that the pain subsided. It's starting to go down. It's still there. Like, I can feel it barely. So it took about 2 weeks of doing this with the EMP device, but could that have been a clump and then it disintegrated?
That's exactly
what I don't buy
the...
Yeah, I don't buy the crap that it was a bone fragment.
I think what happened is you got a nasty implant in that area. That somebody put something extra nasty there. And then what happened is that it clumped a bunch of nano around it, right? Because it was already, this is what they want to do. Thank you, Jordan, for commenting today, because you're helping a lot of people with these observations. Whenever you're injured, wherever you're injured is where they want to implant. And they want to do that because in that part of your body, inflammation naturally forms. It becomes like a little pocket, a little abscess. and they can fill that little abscess up with nanotech more rapidly when there's an implant there. That's what they did. Your tooth was weak. It was removed. They said, oh, there we go. There's a great spot for an implant. So they went ahead and they put a really nasty one in there. That nasty one, they irradiated it as much as possible, that implant, so that all the heavy metals that you were breathing that was in your blood would get pulled to that area. It became probably a considerable size abscess. At that point, you started EMPing it. When you started EMPing it, it started tearing apart the outer shell of nano, and then eventually it hit the implant. And when it hit the implant, it deactivated. The little bit of pain that you're feeling today, right, is them still trying to access it with the directed energy weapons. They're still trying to have the same effect, but you've deactivated it. So you feel them interacting.
I'll continue. Yeah, I'll continue to do the EMP because I can just feel it very, very little, slightly. So
that's exactly what it feels like after you deactivate, because they'll still try to access it, but you'll just feel the pressure of it being, of these beam-like directed energy weapons being aimed at you. But you're not feeling the nanotech implant sending internal voltages within your body. Before, it probably felt like that whole jawbone was on fire.
Oh, yeah, it hurt. It hurt when I used the device on it. I'm not going to lie. I thought, oh, my God, this is crazy. I'm not going to do this again, but I did it. I did it again because I wanted that pain to go away. It really was annoying. It was painful. And I kept doing the iodine mouthwashes also, the Lugol's iodine. And I said, okay, between the iodine, but I think it was the EMP device, because once it hit it, it jolted me. I'm not going to lie. It jolted me.
It would, because that nanotech, it acts like inductors in your body. That's how the nanotech works. So when you're hitting it with a magnetic charge, electromagnetic pulse, it's taking some of that energy and it's sending it internal when the nanotech is built up a lot. But that's why also it went away very quickly. That's how all of this is working. They're transferring external voltages to internal voltages. And when you use that EMP, you're doing the same thing, but you're doing it way more than their weapon system can handle, the implants or the nanotech. The nanotech falls apart with these EMPs, and I sleep on an EMP every night. I built myself a big a pulsing magnetic bed. That's a longer story. I haven't publicized it because it's too dangerous. But either way, it tears apart the nano, and then the implant got deactivated. And then I got off topic. The what you had going there when you first hit it was probably the beginning of mouth cancer, or what they're calling now turbo cancer, which is to say lesions. You probably had a lesion of significant size that you broke apart.
Oh, I had to, because when I went there before I got the tooth extracted, what happened was there was like a pus pocket.
Yep.
Not on the tooth, but near the tooth. But here's what the oral surgeon said. So I said, this is infected, so we shouldn't take the tooth out. And he says, this has nothing to do with your tooth. It was like almost, I thought at one moment that he knew what was going on, because I looked at him and I said, no, any normal oral surgeon wouldn't even touch the tooth if it's near it. It's infected. I said, I've been fighting this for 2 weeks now. And I even called your office, and they said to still come in. And he said it has nothing to do with the tooth. So he knew something, or through his experience, but it did go away. I mean, I got rid of it, and this is only 3 months now, and it's almost gone. So it had to be, because my other teeth that were extracted never had that kind of pain when I put the device on them. Never. It was only that one area.
Yeah, that was that. So that's, by the way, that's what turbo cancer is. It's that nanotech just getting clumped up, but that's what was going on in that abscess. So if, let's just say, completely change the subject, well, not completely, but if you had a lower back injury, like a lot of people do, and you were targeted, the nanotech would clump in that area, right? And eventually the contractors, if they were worth their salt, the human traffickers, the modern day slavers, whatever you want to call them, would find that opening. They would go, wow, this part of her body or his body is resonating very strongly with these directed energy weapons we're using, right? So eventually they would try to get some implants into that area. And once they got implants into that area where your chronic inflammation is already naturally forming, then they're trying to drive these larger outcomes, right? This is like one of the big reasons why they're human trafficking. They would try to disable you through that natural chronic inflammation that you have and the implants and the nanotech that they're doing. They would try to conflate the two and get this bigger interaction. Now, they do this with people's hearts. They do this with people's livers and kidneys, and they kill people every day doing that. Same idea.
Yeah. Okay. That was all I had. But thanks for working with me on getting that device set up. So it's good. Thanks for your patience with me. It's all good to go. And I've been using it for a while.
Can I just say, Jordan, you're an absolute warrior. Thanks for being on the call today, because that was a lot of great information. Thank you.
Yeah, that was fantastic. Great observations.
Oh,
yeah, I have.
Well, I come on the calls with Andrew because Andrew helped me back when he didn't do these calls, messaging and stuff, and he got me up to speed and got me on the right path here. So I owe a lot to this to Andrew, so that's why I try to make every call. But yeah.
Thank you.
I learn on these calls also too, though, from everyone.
I appreciate that a lot. I really do. It's nice to hear it. You know, I realize through all this stuff is we can really only help people that are ready to be helped. So it's great hearing someone, you know, move through it.
I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I made the EMP device and also the high voltage one with the PVC pipes at the end of it.
Oh, no kidding. Good for you. Great job.
Yeah. But we made communication with you, so I'm thinking that our email have been blocked because we got a response from your channel that say that you responded to the comment, but there was no comment. So we also sent you an email with the picture of how we put it together because it's not really working right. And so we didn't get a response, but it's really urgent. So,
okay, yeah. Hey, email me again right now, and I'll see it, and I'll get back to you. Okay.
All right. So I'll just resend that email.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know how that happened. Sometimes it just happens.
Okay, so I'll do that. I appreciate it. Thanks a lot. Okay. Thanks.
Was there anything else?
Yeah, actually, yes. What else?
Uh-huh.
So I wanted to know, well, in terms of protecting my environment, because I realize that's really a big thing that needs to be done because I'm using the EMP. And like you said, after a month we'll feel better. It hasn't been a month since I'm using it, but I'm telling you, I think I was really dying. So this has saved my life. After 3 days, I was feeling better. And so I think I started the 19th of last month, but I'm feeling a whole lot. I don't feel like I'm dying anymore. So it has been a tremendous blessing, and I really appreciate it. So I wanted to be like one of the first people to use the high voltage to make it. So I'm looking forward to use that. But I also wanted to know about the red light therapy, if that would help, and how to protect my environment, because that's really big because I use the EMP and then, I go to bed or whatever, and there's just still, putting the stuff inside of me, even though it's not as bad as it was before, because usually it was really bad. So I can actually deal with it a lot better. And those implants that have been deactivated, they try to activate some of them or put them back in. But I don't feel anywhere close to where I was feeling, because I don't think if I didn't get this EMP device, I don't know how I probably would be dead. So,
well, that's God. That's God bringing you into this information.
It really is. It really is. Yeah.
Okay, so protecting your environment. You say you're getting break-ins while you're sleeping?
I'm not getting break-in. Is that they use a lot of sound on me, and the sound is the high frequency sound. That's a killer. But it's so many different sounds that they use. They literally engulf where I live with sound. They're beating on the wall. They're flipping the bathroom vent. I can't even go. When I use the bathroom, I have to be quick in and out. I can't even take a bath anymore. It's that bad.
Okay. I'm just curious. Are you living in the United States?
In the United States, and this apartment style building.
I wanted to know why it was so bad. That makes sense.
It's really bad. It's extremely bad.
So,
they use sounds from outside, Whatever sounds they pipe it in here, it's the sounds are what's really killing me. It's extremely bad.
Okay, this isn't always the case, but it's usually the case. Are you hearing a low rumble that never goes away and becomes a higher pitched rumble sometimes?
Okay, so I do hear rumble. I hear a lot of times it sounds like it's a continuous engine, like an engine sound.
Yeah.
And then the frequency, when that's combined, and then the high frequency, when that's combined together, that's literally killing you. And so when you survive this, it's only God.
Okay, so let me jump in right here. That low rumble, what it is it's an acoustic-based weapon system that's pushing the particulate that they're releasing in your near environment into your breezeways and breathways. Yeah, does that make sense?
Yeah, and it's usually, I can hear, usually the sounds from, they'll have sounds like the high frequency and the whirring or engine sound. It usually comes from the direction of the window.
Yes, that's exactly right. So that's what's happening. Mm-hmm. What they're doing two different things at once, the same time. So that, again, to counter your intelligence, to confuse you about what's happening. So they put the particulate in gas tanks. They do this especially at apartments because they can run their cars 24/7. No one cares. Okay. But they'll put the particulate, the chemtrail-like particulate, in the gas tank. Okay. Then they'll turn the engine on. They'll sync the engine to strikes on you. So as the engine revs up, at that exact moment that it's revving up, they'll hit you with a directed energy weapon that will intensify. All right, a beam-like weapon. They do this to confuse you. So you're breathing particulate, and then they're syncing the sounds to the directed energy weapons. How you protect against the particulates is you try to limit breathing them as much as possible. The only way you can really do that effectively is by controlling your space. Okay, 3 millimeter thick polyurethane will stop the particulate from moving through it. But that being said, if you're in an apartment, which it sounds like you are, just because they're banging on your walls and stuff, then what's going to go on is they're going to not only do this from outside, they're going to do this from shared walls.
Yes.
Your spook neighbors, what they'll do is they'll make these little micro holes, very, very smaller than micro. Well, maybe something like that, micro though. It's really small. Really, really small holes, and they'll release the aerosols on their side into these parts of the drywall and whatnot and get it to bleed into your apartment. So that's what's going on. You're breathing so much of this aerosols that even though you've deactivated the implants, which has helped you tremendously, you're still breathing a lot of these heavy metals. And although they cannot be ordered and like formed into the way it was before, as they move through your bloodstream, they can still be triggered by the directed energy weapons. So that being said, until you can get out of that place, right, which sounds like you need to eventually.
Yes.
And you know that better than I do.
Yeah, we're working on it.
Okay, good. Until you can do that, the thing to do right now would be start building and wearing these electrical components like I've been talking about. Mm-hmm. Because what that does is when they go to hit you with the directed energy weapons and you've been breathing the heavy metals, but you're wearing the components, there's only so much magnetic charge that they can get into you. That's literally what's going on with me right now. I'm breathing crap ton of these aerosols because I live in a house and they have gone nuts, especially since I started talking publicly about all this stuff. They were already going nuts before this, but it's a whole thing. It's like everybody's got a story, right? Anyways, but I'm wearing this big brace, right? So as they hit me, they can't generate that charge throughout my body. They can only get it in one spot, right here. And then like I said, there's a little bit more to this that I haven't talked about, but I can feel it. It's like a little pressure. It's like somebody with their finger pressing down on me. Like it's noticeable. It's uncomfortable sometimes, but it's not debilitating.
But I do have one of those on the left side of my head. That's where they hit me all the time. It's right there.
Yeah. It should be. That's where. See, that's how I know you've been deactivating, because when you start deactivating, they stop trying to run the charge throughout your body, and they start just going after the specific spot. So what they're doing is they're going after that specific spot 24/7, and then they're dumping air. Then they're dumping those aerosols. They're getting as much as they can pump into your apartment. They're putting there. So build the electrical components to wear. That will help you tremendously. And then again, not to be a broken record, but detoxing will help you a lot too.
Yeah, I'm working on that because I'm pretty much I'm working on the alkaline diet. I was already pretty much close to it, but certain things I need to eliminate and add some more things. So I eat fairly healthy, to be honest.
Most targets figure this out first through detoxing.
Yeah. Okay.
Go
ahead.
So then the last thing with the EMP device, the higher powered one that you built, you just turning that on, and when your symptoms are really bad, and holding the paddles, right? So when it's working correctly, what you'll see is a spark go into spark gap.
Right.
When you see that and you hold the paddles, either one, you can use that as an EMP, move it around, break up the metals and whatnot. But if you just hold it, you'll notice instant relief, because just holding it will demagnetize you.
Okay, wonderful. So do I keep it on 24/7? How does that work?
It would be dangerous to keep it on 24/7 until you've ran it for a few hours at a time and make sure that you're not going to catch anything on fire, that it's stable. But yeah, what I do is I run that device, basically the same one that you built, into material that I sleep on, that I'm insulated from. So I'm insulated with it by about this much rubber. And I sleep on the top of that, and that electromagnetic pulse is bathing my body all night.
Okay. They literally, every time they really torture me when I'm sleeping. I wake up with them just pulsing my body, beating in my head on both sides of my head. It's just horrible. But the EMP device really helps that. Yeah.
Well, so because you did the work and you built the other one, you can turn that. I will be willing to show you how to turn that into something that you can sleep on. Okay? But it's dangerous, okay? It's dangerous. Yeah. For example, if you had that running and you spilled water on it, you could potentially electrocute yourself.
Oh gosh.
Yep. So that's what I'm saying. That's why I don't publicize it, what I've done with the bed. But it is next level.
Okay. So all right. So I'll send you an email. Thanks a lot.
Okay. Thank you. Great question. I'm so glad you're working through a lot of this. You're going to keep finding success if you keep moving through it.
Absolutely.
The big thing though for you is that those shared walls. They're freaking drilling you with those chemicals.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So, okay. Thanks a lot.
You're welcome.
Andrew?
Yep.
This is Celine in Chicago. Hi. I spoke with you on Susan's conference call about a week ago, last Saturday, and I told you I was going to email you. I did not forget. I have no email access, and I'm just waiting until I get it, so please don't forget me.
Okay.
And thank you. I'll review you what we spoke of. Thank you, Andrew. God bless you.
God bless you, too. Yeah, I'll be waiting for that email. Is there anything else? We're moving on 2 hours right now. I know we're getting off a little bit here and there on things that it's all good though. It's all good information for everybody. Does anybody have any specific questions about the wearables, the electrical components to wear? Okay, that's fine. We don't have to have specific questions. Does anybody have any general questions for targeting? And then we're going to close up here pretty soon, next 15 minutes or so.
I wanted to ask is have you ever been able to, I don't know if you had a V2K personally, I don't remember, but if you know anyone that has gotten fully rid of their V2K and basically that's it.
No, but I can diminish it significantly, right? So I have V2K. It's a really insidious form of V2K they use with me. A lot of people have. They play the same songs over and over for months at a time. Literally the same song every day, 24/7, month after month. When I am fully toxified, not wearing the brace, when the implants were working, it was much, much louder and much worse than it is now. Now it's like I have to be almost completely still and not thinking or doing anything to hear it. And it's very faint compared to what it used to be. Very, very faint.
And also, like, some people get, like, kind of like, it's like they get forced to rap in their head and stuff like that. Or, like, it's like a specific command or script they, like, can program to your head. Has it happened with you, and like, have you been able to like stop that, like, also?
Yeah, I know roughly what you're talking about. I would have used completely different words to explain it, but yes, all that stuff only really works when you're in a high suggestible state, completely inflamed. You know, like, and I'm not trying to judge you. But I can tell right now, based off of the way you sound speaking, I can tell pretty much anybody just because I've been doing this for a while. But you have to be inflamed for it to work like that. And you can literally take ice and put it on your head and feel your cognitive ability return. And that's because you're mating electrochemical reactions. Basically, you're mating that magnetism with dielectricism. But again, that's the physics part of it we don't need to talk about right now. But there is a physics tie to all of it. You don't, when basically, long story short, when you're chronically inflamed, those outcomes are more likely.
And so, like, also, yeah. Like, like, my blood tests have been fine, except for like the high blood pressure, and then it goes normal when I start eating better. But the again, a lot of memory loss too, like, and disorientation. A lot. They did that more like this month than the month before. They do something to make you lose your focus more, and like your energy kind of goes down.
Yeah, it's literally heat, and that heat, we could call that magneticism. We could call it one and the same, really. But basically, they're heating up your parts of your brain, and it's making your consciousness affected, right? So what we've been talking about today is good for all of us, because really we're addressing this at the root. We're not looking at one specific part of our body, although we could. We're going after the full weapon system being deployed on us, which is the implants, the directed energy weapons, and the nanotech working in symphony together.
Can I ask a question? Or is he done? Oh, I love that you brought up the heat thing, because it was like 50 something the other night, and my apartment's been heated up to like 75, 77 degrees, and there's no reason for it. Is that why they overheat the apartment, is to try to also impact the brain or to target the body parts? Like, why does it happen?
Yes, but only indirectly. What they're directly doing is they're sending heated particulate your way for you to breathe to heat up your body. That heated particulate, it's heated for a variety of reasons. To move through the atmosphere is one of them, is concentrating in your apartment, which is heating it up. So that's literally particulate. Sorry.
If you were my shoes, what would you do? Just like, would you open a window and run the AC, or what would you do?
Okay, so let's just say that it's coming from the walls. Because you're in an apartment, that's usually what it is. They usually have like the ceiling or the above you or below you. It's usually what they do. Right. So let's say that's the case. And so what means is that your airspace is completely full of this crap, which is mine right now, okay? So what I do right now, where I'm at, which we're roughly in the same position, is I keep constant airflow. And I keep that air that's flowing demagnetized. And I do that with twisted copper, all right? And I do that through ceiling fans.
Okay.
Now that system is overwhelmed, right? It's overwhelmed currently as I'm talking to you. So you can only take it so far. It does help a lot. At that point, I'm wearing the the wearable electric components, because I can't stop myself from breathing it. Three of my neighbors are dumping it 24/7. You know, I can't control their behaviors, but once it interacts with me, then I can make myself demagnetized, so it has much less of an effect. And then we go back to fasting. This is why I fast. Every however many days, I can feel it build up in me by basically just getting hit with directed energy weapons. And I go, well, I'm going to stop eating. And once 2, 3 days, 4 days pass, that feeling goes away, and I'm back to a baseline, and we move forward.
Yeah. I end up having to I just run the fan on overnight. That instead of the AC, I'm just running the fan function just to get circulation. And I also have the copper fan, but it's not on the ceiling, unfortunately. But what I'm sensing is sometimes when my place is sealed up, but the windows are sealed up, it's problematic. So I got one of those box fans, and I blow it directed outside, so air is sucking out, pushing out instead of pulling in from the outside. Do you think that's okay?
So what they'll end up doing is they'll find the drafts, and they'll start aiming the particulate for the drafts if you're pushing air out. So there's no real way to do that, pushing air in or out over a medium amount of time. In the short term, you can make all the adjustments, and that will very much help. If you're not noticing it come in through a certain window, put the box fan up to that window and draw air in that way. But these people, this is literally their job. They will literally adapt to what you're doing and start trying to drive that chemtrail-like particulate into that window where you've got the air blowing in, right?
Yeah.
So when you run that twisted copper box fans, what you're doing is the particulate, you're allowing it to become demagnetized and fall to the ground. You want it on the ground. That's the primary best thing you can do.
On the ground. Oh, right now it's not on the ground. I'm so glad you said that. I have it on the table.
Oh, no. Well, no, not the fan itself, but the particulate in the air.
Oh, I want the particulate on the ground. Got it.
Yeah, because when it falls to the ground, and you might kick it up as you move through it, but you're not breathing it, right? Yeah. So the more you can demagnetize this, and then that's what they do. When you demagnetize, it's like what you were talking about before. They'll heat this sucker up so that they can move it around with directed energy weapons more efficiently. So like I was saying, they're going to constantly adapt. Yeah. It's like you're going through exactly what one of the previous people were talking about when she was saying that she was breathing this stuff, the one that had built the pulsed electromagnetic field device, the bigger one. She's going through the exact same thing. You see how like all of our problems are more or less the same tactics, just like how do they implement these tactics?
Yeah, they're working off a template. They have a method for sure. Yeah.
Exactly. The people doing this to you are going through a guidebook, and they don't even know about what they can hear. They're going to hear. A lot of them are going to hear what we're talking about, and a lot of them are too far gone to listen to the words that are coming out of my mouth. But this nanotech is in everyone. It's in them too.
Right.
All right. So either way, I'm getting off topic.
Yeah, no, it's okay. I just want to add one more thing. The moment I do open a window and try and direct it out, oftentimes a car will go by, and I know that they're using additives in their fuel, most of them. Yeah, it happens a lot. But the moment I started also I want to just say, if Liliana still on this call, she was asking about garlic. I just want to tell her, like, raw garlic is the deal for me. I wouldn't. I mean, if you can handle it and you're not around people where you want to scare them off, I think raw garlic, because allegedly raw garlic, when you press it, and let it sit for like, I don't know, 7-8 minutes, it activates allicin. This is the powerful ingredient that we need to really like kind of do some damage. And so for me, I'm doing raw garlic every day. I think the more I do it, the more I'm taking some other products that are natural herbs. It's just like, yeah, they start increasing the heat, and they do, you know, they start doing other stuff. They adjust. Like, yeah.
And it's because that garlic, it's so great. It breaks apart the nanotech. It clumps the heavy metals. It's so effective at doing that. It's just like a little balm in our system. When you take it, I used to just live off raw onions and raw garlic. I go literally weeks and weeks without eating anything besides raw vegetables. But now I can't find any raw vegetables that are clean, or garlic, whatever. So what I do is I just fast every now and then.
Yeah. I mean, even intermittent fasting, like for me, I heard Charlie talk about fasting. For me, there's no way I could do dry fasting because I'm hit with weapons that cause dehydration.
Well, no. So yes, you are for sure. That's radiation in general does that. But more accurately, what's going on is that you're breathing a crap ton of these aerosols.
Okay.
Okay. So and then you're also being hit with the radiation because that's the backstop for the directed energy weapons. This is something everyone can do when you're in this situation, which is all of us, is chew gum. When you're chewing gum, you produce more saliva. I am holding gum. I don't know why I'm holding gum. Everyone knows what gum is. But what it does is the gum itself will clump the aerosols as you're breathing. So it'll just help. Yeah.
Okay. That's great. That's really great to know. Thank you.
Yeah, it helps a lot, actually.
That's awesome.
You're welcome. All right, guys, was there anybody?
Yes.
Okay. Yep.
Thank you. So the difference in severity of attacks or symptoms in different people is not necessarily due to different programs being run, but their individual biology, physiology, and the amount of nano, or maybe the amount of shielding, right?
Exactly, because they'll take this as far as they can with anyone.
And as far as the gum, nicotine gum, the nicotine somewhat, is that supposed to help disable the nano a little bit, or do you know?
I think that's a bunch of crap, to be honest. I'm just being honest with you.
Okay.
I know that stuff is full, like the nicotine gum is full of the synthetic heavy metal particulates that will help grow it.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I don't know particularly about nicotine, but I do know smoking is bad for it too. It just creates an acidic or magnetic body. I think that's a bunch of crap being put out, and I think it might be done, organically or by disinfo people. I'm not sure.
Okay, thank you.
Cool.
A couple more things, Andrew. You had mentioned the red light, the infrared light, that 150-watt light bulb, and I just wanted to let you know that. Why am I echoing?
Hold on, I got it. It was anonymous. Was keeping their mic on. Go ahead.
Okay. I went out and I bought that 150-watt. It's an infrared bulb, like for the lizard terrariums or whatever at the pet shop, and the dome light to screw in the ball. And when I got pain, again on the left side, down on my foot, it's really the left toe that this happens. I didn't have the EMP device close by, but I did have the infrared light, and I used that, and that's very, very powerful. Very powerful, and it worked like within a half a minute to subside the pain. So I thank you for giving that advice, and I use it for other parts of the body. When you work out, like do house chores, and you're not moving muscles that you haven't moved in a while, or whatever, you are moving muscles and you get some pain, but that's a very good idea. And then the gum that they say is good gum to use, like a lot of the dentists, and people can choose whatever they want to choose, but someone mentioned earlier xylitol, I think you did, xylitol, but that pure gum, PUR, has xylitol in it, if I'm not mistaken, and you can get that at Walgreens. A lot of times they'll have like buy one, get one free type of thing, but they say that gum's like good to produce saliva quickly in your mouth. But that's all I wanted to say. Yeah.
Oh, thank you for your contributions. I was just reading the chat as you were speaking too, because I had to check on it every now and then. People were talking about the Q collar. I don't know anything about that. I don't recommend it. That was just somebody that came on to talk about. I guess just talk about that and go. So you take that for what you will. Again, I do not condone or support it or anything. But that red light is a powerful tool. And excuse me, the person who built the EMP device, the stronger one, I forgot to mention that to you because you asked about it. That's something that will help you in the short term, just like the previous, like Jordan was talking about. It helps you when you're getting targeted really heavily in one spot, particularly. You put that red light on there, that 150 watt incandescent needs to be incandescent red light on there, and there is no cheaper, more effective on the spot solution that you can find. Like for the literally on the spot. It's very powerful red light therapy. Anybody can have it. $40. Everybody buys these expensive red light therapy machines. It's like, yeah, you could do that with just $40 and build one better than the ones that you would get on Amazon for $200 because it's incandescent.
So are you saying we could use the high voltage device with the red light?
Oh, no, excuse me. No, I was saying that the red light is very much worth your time. There are people that have figured out a way to send EMP pulses through lights. That's a great idea, but I haven't figured it out. All right, guys, I've been talking for a long time. It's like 5:20. It's been like 2.5 hours. Is there any other?
Where's the best place to get the 150 watt red light, please?
It's pet stores, weirdly enough.
Pet store.
Yeah,
Thank
if you go to pet stores and you go to the reptile section, you'll find the incandescent 150 watt red light in the nighttime for their aquariums. That's what they're marketing. You're welcome. All right, was there anybody else? All right, well, hey, thanks everybody for coming. I'm going to unmute everybody. It's been a pleasure. Next week, I'll have more of a regular format. And then, or we'll do more questions. I'm not sure. We'll figure it out. Oh, geez. Whoever's playing that music, that's so annoying. But either way, let's not go back, I guess. But sorry about that. But all right, I'll see you next week. And you guys got my email. It's also in the chat. It's been a pleasure. May God have mercy on us, and may God bless us.
Tweet, tweet, tweet. Tweet, 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 tweet. Ooh, 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 ooh.